What's up, guys? Man, we are back at it with another episode of Right on Cue, man. Man, it's gonna be a great episode. Man, we're coming off a great weekend. Poosa Q, man, it was hot, but man, it was definitely one for the books. If you missed this one, sorry, you can't make it next year because this was the last one. I just hate to see that go away, but man, it's just been awesome to have that contest for the past 6 years. Um, so man, if y'all missed that one, y'all just really missed a treat. But it's right now, it's a break in barbecue, and gonna take a little time off and spend time with family and get back at it in July. Competitions kind of slow down in the summertime. But today, man, we got a awesome group of guys coming on that, just so happened won Poosa Q on the Pro Division. Monster win. Got that big paycheck. Cool trophies. Man, it's just awesome. So without further ado, man, we're gonna bring on Chad and Frank with Yes Dear BBQ. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Man, we're doing all right, man. How y'all doing?
Good.
Can't complain.
We made the long ride back.
So, man,
I did.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Chad's like, bring it home, boy, bring it home.
bring it home. Chad was like, yeah, man, we got some money in the bank now, baby.
Exactly. I didn't even have to work for it.
No,
That's right.
He didn't even. He stayed in the air conditioner all day. Can you believe that?
Man, hey, nothing wrong with that because I would have done the same thing. It was hot. So did Chad at least trim anything for you, or did he give you any more support?
Well, I mean, in all fairness, Chad he'll make all of our injections and sauces, injections, all that stuff. We'll make it in the middle of the week before. So I do get a little goodie when I'm going out on my own. I do get a little goodie bag that's got bottles in it with like kind of like paint one, 2, 3 kind of paint thing. So it'll have the powder in one bag and the liquid in the other, and we mix it together and shake it. So yeah, really, Chad did something.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, so you can't feel just too awful guilty, right, Chad?
No.
Because I'll be like, man, that was a little salty. What did you put in that?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I did the same thing as last time.
Do.
I'm like, come on, Chad. I know you did something different.
That's right.
Every once in a while, I mess him up and throw something in there that he doesn't know about.
And that's fine, as long as it is again next time.
That's right. Well, whatever you done worked, So
I mean, Chad did it all.
That's right. Heck yeah. But man, we are so happy to have y'all on, man. Y'all are a great group of guys, and just you want to just kind of introduce yourself to the crowd and just tell the people more about you.
Yeah, I'm Frank Nagel with Yes Dear BBQ.
I'm Chad Warner.
So we've been let's see, when did we start barbecuing? Probably around 2009 or something. We did some local barbecues here around Savannah, Georgia, and then 10 or 11 we did some SCBA contest over in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They did we saw in the newspaper where you could sign up and they'd give you the meat and you just had to cook the meat, and we're we can do that. So we went to one, and then you go to the first one, they come around and say, hey, we're having another contest around. So we signed up for the second one, and the worst thing that happened was the second one we went to, we won ribs. And we're like, this is going to cost us some money. And it was
like you was hooked.
It was a truth. It was a truth.
We got the big bowling trophy.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably a couple $100.
We took a whole keg of beer with us, and we drank the whole keg. And we got a picture somewhere. We got a picture in the back of our buddy Scott's car with the keg with the trophy sitting on top of it. And we're like, so. But then we messed around with it for a little while, and then about I think 2013 was our first. 2012 we did an FBA contest down in Florida. That was the first 4-meat contest that we did, and then 2013 Boss Hog over in Waynesboro we did our first pro contest, KCBS pro contest, and we didn't even know, like, you guys cook backyard. We didn't even know that was a thing.
Right.
We were probably cooking a year or two in.
Yeah.
Before we kind of like. We'd cook a couple of contests a year that were within 2 hours or so of our house, which, we live in Savannah. So we're kind of geographically bordered by the ocean. So we can't go real far the other direction. So we cook a couple of contests, and then we started venturing out a little bit further, and then got into some teams up in the Atlanta area, cooking against those guys. And they just kind of come out of the backyard divisions. And we're like, we didn't even know that was a thing. So I tell the backyard teams all the time, I'm like, man, just come on, let's go. Just cook with us. We didn't know any different, and it worked out.
That's right. So now looking back, would you rather have started in backyard, or would you just keep it the same?
I think I wouldn't. I
mean, I think like if there was contests close to us that were backyard, we probably would have done backyard.
We probably would have.
But that's the thing is like when we first started, we were staying within a couple hours travel time, and I mean all of the contests that close didn't have any backyard.
Well, I mean, and
so if we did, we probably could have.
Yeah, I mean, like the SCBA was really like a 2-meat contest. It was pork and ribs. So they're great pork teams over in South Carolina, and to be honest, I think we won ribs, but that's it. I don't think we ever won a pork contest. I don't know if we did or didn't. We cooked for a couple years over there. Yeah. But that's kind of why we did it, because it was kind of a 2-meat ordeal. And then, of course, Barbecue Pitmasters was all over TV, and, it was like, oh, we got to go do that. And then the guy that Mr. Harry Flint, we met at our first barbecues SCBA contest. He's like, you guys got to come cook the Sam's Club KCBS contest in Charleston.
Right.
We didn't really know what KCBS was. We're like, what's that? So we, started talking with him and all that. And in 2012, he invited me to go cook with him. He's like, I'm cooking. Come up here and cook with me. I'm like, okay. So I went up there, and he literally said, all right, I'm going to trim a brisket. You trim a brisket. He brought one of every single thing and like showed me everything that he was doing. And it was like, man, this is super cool. This is really before classes were out and all that. Mm-hmm. There was some internet stuff. It was like the Barbecue Brethren. You could kind of get a little bit of information from and that kind of stuff. But I mean, him showing me hands-on, I think it helped us tremendous to be able to go. Like our first KCBS contest, we got a brisket call in, and 100% of the reason we got a brisket call, we cooked exactly what he told us to cook, like how he had done it, which he had actually taken a class from Myron, which we learned later and we didn't know, but it was similar to the style that they were cooking at the time. But I mean, I would say our learning curve was helped tremendous by Mr. Harry. That helped us out a ton. Mm-hmm. So it's funny. I mean, even today looking on Facebook, a lot of the people that were at that first SCBA contest that we cooked at said, "Thanks, congratulations, guys." Mr. Larry said,
we've come a long way.
Come a long ways from Hardyville, South Carolina, and that's
right.
That's the contest that we
that was the first one we got ribs in.
First place rib call. But the contest that Friday night, like this weekend, it rained a lot. The stuff down there,
man.
So we had a lang, we had bought a lang, and we had a pop-up tent. And we got there on Friday afternoon, and we heard a storm was coming, and so we put the sides on the tent. And as the storm came over, remember this? The tent it sucked the sides out and ripped all 4 zippers. And went, watch out! And then come to find out, we were at the low point of the whole site. So all the water for the whole site was under our feet.
Man, that's
horrible.
We went so Larry and his teammate, they were in the trailer next to us, sitting up on the back porch, and we were like, we're gonna get one of those trailers.
Oh yeah, soon.
That contest, we actually went down to the Walmart and got wooden pallets from behind the Walmart. Made a dock in front of the lane,
because that's how wet it was. It was just, I mean, we were in like water like this deep.
Yeah. So
the whole time.
Man. And we came back and did it again the next week.
Yeah, it's like you go through something like that and you're like, man, screw this. Then you get home Monday, you're like, man, I'm ready for the next one.
You get a call. You drive home. You're going, man, this is awesome.
Oh yeah. You got to do it again for sure, man. That's kind of like what happened to me, man. Like 2022, first starting out, bad windstorm down in Foley. It was so bad I had to seize meat in my truck. I was like, man, screw this. I'm getting a trailer. So later that year, I was able to get me a trailer, and I haven't looked back. I mean, it's definitely a game changer.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But you said y'all started with the lane. Are y'all sticking with a lane now, or y'all kind of transition to something else?
Really gone from
everything. So I mean,
we originally started out the very first few contests. We had a Weber Smoky Mountain
and a
homemade drum smoker.
And little did we know, we built this drum and we cooked a 225 on it all night long. And little did we know, all you do is fire that bad boy up and
let it go.
Awesome. We had no idea.
We had the little ball valves on it.
The whole thing.
Trying to keep it low and slow. I mean, and again in SCBA, they give you 8 butts to cook.
Right.
Because they provide the meat. So if you're not familiar with SCBA, it's South Carolina Barbecue Association. They give you the butts to cook. The entry fee is like $200, but you have to cook 8 butts, and you turn in whatever you want to turn in, and then you serve the rest to the public.
So all our events are kind of like fundraisers and public events,
and so it's like People's Choice, but everybody does People's Choice. So we had a Weber Smoky Mountain and a drum smoker, and we're trying to cook 8 butts and 6 racks of ribs on these 2 little smokers. So everything's all crammed in there tight, and of course we're doing everything low and slow. So we're trying to fight it, keeping it 225.
Hey, look who showed up.
What's going on, gentlemen? Hey, look, what do I always say? Always late, worth the wait.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Just don't be late for turn-ins, right?
We almost did that this weekend, by the way.
Oh,
ask Mr. Russell. I think he turned brisket and it was like 6 seconds.
Wow.
That was a little tight.
Wow.
wait, y'all placed in brisket, right?
No, we got 14th place in brisket, but But if it didn't land on that table, we wouldn't have gotten any other call. We wouldn't have got that last call. 6 seconds from not getting that last call.
Man, that was close.
Yeah,
that was very close.
Yeah. So, but but we ended up. So we cooked on those drums, and then we went and bought a Lang. We cooked a couple contests on the Lang, and then that's where we. Remember the story about getting the trailer. So we ordered a trailer, and we're like, we can't pull the Lang and the trailer up the road at the same time. And gravity feed cookers were just everywhere at the time. So we got us a gravity feed superior smoker,
which there's actually another.
They're like different. They're like assassin smokers, basically. Or like an assassin. We had that, and then
upgraded to a Deep South.
We won a contest on that. That's the first contest we won was on the Superior, and we ordered a Deep South, and we hauled that around for a long time and ended up upgrading trailers because we were dragging that in and out of the trailer. And then after the Deep South, we got an Outlaw. Went back to a stick burner, and the Outlaw is bad to the bone, man. There's freaking awesome cookers.
Dream smoker right there.
Yes, sir. And believe it or not, the reason we took the Outlaw off the trailer was because the trailer was all over the road driving down the road. It was right on the back of the trailer, and it's our trailer. It's just our trailer. It was just we've had some, but it was. We finally just said I just was tired of fighting traveling up and down the road, so we took the Outlaw off the back and put 3 drums. Well, actually 4 drums to begin with, right? Had four drums on there. And then ended up going to 3 drums and a rec tech. And when we put the drums on the back of the trailer, we lit on fire. I mean, I'm telling you, we won a contest on the Outlaw. We won a contest on the Deep South. We put the drums on the back of the trailer, and a couple contests in, we won a contest.
So real quick, what do you think it is about those Lang and people who cook on Langs who they're not in the mix as much, maybe?
I don't know. It's funny because I've always said we still got our Lang. We still use it. As a matter of fact, last year we sent it back down there and had it refurbished, and it looks brand new. And we do caterings and stuff like that.
It's a 2004? I think
2004.
And
it's one of the first ones that they had the flat front on.
When he started rolling his own steel. And
And it, just well built cooker. But
what do you have, a 60 or 48?
It's 84.
84. Okay.
Big boy. Yeah. So we've cooked some whole hogs and stuff on it for catering and that kind of stuff. So it's great because you can do all that on there. But to answer your question, I don't know. We've had conversations about it. Like, I kind of want to at some point pull that thing out and go cook a contest on it. Now that I know what I know about how I'm cooking now, the way we were back then, I would like to see how we did on cooking on that cooker.
Because again, when we had the Lang, it was all about overnight.
Low and slow,
not letting that thing get above 225.
And I mean,
we talked to Daryl, who cooks for Lang.
Yep.
He's like, man, let that thing run at 275, 300. That's where it wants to be at.
Pending the weather.
Right.
And I say that because I have a 48 on my trailer. And listen, I'll say it again here. I've said it to several people. If Ben would insulate his boxes, I don't believe there's another stick burner, another offset better if he would insulate those boxes.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, we even lined the bottom. I mean, still like that.
Yeah.
We got the fire brick in the bottom and stuff on the sides, and it helps. It helps some. But you're right. You're right though, because I mean, when we went to the Outlaw, it was like, man, we used 14 sticks of wood to cook a whole contest. And, we'd use start with just the roll oak briquettes in the bottom, a bag of that, put a piece of wood in there, and then just every 30 minutes or so, we'd put one little stick of wood in there.
And it holds at 3 needles up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
But that laying, you got to throw 2 or 3 sticks in.
Listen,
let it go.
When I changed my wood to charcoal ratio, I used to bring 4 milk crates full of splits. And I'm talking about like just stuffed in there, jammed, ready. Because with layings, you have to, and don't let it be overcast. Don't let that, barometric pressure. And he won't. And I get it. He's been selling them since the 80s. Right? Like there's nothing wrong with the pit other than it's very temperamental for the outside temperatures. But
so we were actually, so I was parked up behind Scott Parr this weekend, and Scott Parr just got an Outlaw. He's been cooking on Lang ever since he started cooking. And this is his first contest with the Outlaw. And he turned to me about middle of the cook. He said, only problem I got with this, my woodman's about to go out of business. Only negative thing I got to say is my woodman's about to go out of business because I don't need it, not nearly as much wood for him. So that thing just purred on him. So
I bet. They're
great
for sure, man. I always wanted to cook on Outlaw. Maybe one day
we'll have another one at some point. We're gonna have another one. Noel K bought our Hickory Barbecue company out of North Carolina, bought ours, and he won a contest 2 weeks ago up in West Virginia on it, and I was like, man,
just wicked.
I was proud he won, but I was a little jealous.
So would we feel comfortable saying nowadays, let's say, I'll go back 2023. Okay. It's either stick burner or drums, period. Like who else is winning on a Deep South anymore? I know Sid, and obviously recently Wes changed from the old hickories. Sid still has old hickory, right?
Yeah.
I
think he uses it for some catering stuff. He just carries it on his trailer, but he cooks on drums.
Okay. So I mean, but is there anything else? Has it finally kind of whittled down? There's no more gravities. There's no more,
like a backwoods. I haven't seen a backwoods in forever.
I'll tell you,
I know there's
my buddy Jason Singletary could put a bag of charcoal in the parking lot and cook on it, and he
wow.
So I still think so. One of the things I'm joking, but one of the things that I think our transition from that whole group of cookers that we cooked on was we weren't, in my opinion, we weren't cooking the barbecue with the gravity feeds and even the Lang to a certain degree. We were just kind of letting it do its thing for so long. When you fire up either a stick burner or that drum, you got to stand there and cook on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So and I think it changed our game tremendously, with just paying attention to what you're doing and knowing what the meat's doing. And every time you open the lid and turn something, every 30 minutes you're looking at it on a drum. I mean the stick burner, you're picking it up and spritzing a little something because there's a ton of airflow in those things. You're looking at the meat, you're doing something, you're watching the way that it's starting to color up. You're like, hey, I'm about this far, and it's about that color. And you never even opened those other cookers until it was an hour and a half or 2 hours in. So I think there's something for that the type of cooker has made us all better cooks. So, and that's why folks have gone. I mean, they're working and people are, but I think that there's something to that.
Well, and what's kind of funny, at least between a reverse flow and a straight, the hot spot, the microwave shelf is in the same spot because on Lang's it's coming up that 90 and going to the right.
Yep.
That's where brisket starts,
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I'm not gonna give up on my Lang. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna have to win my first KCBS GC Master Series to change. Like that's the goal I have. I believe it can be done. Chicken I've submitted to either pellet cooker or drum or WSM and whatnot, but the other three meats they're cooked on Black Betty. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean Daryl Daryl with laying down the heat. I mean, that's a bad cook, dude. He's a great cook.
Yes.
And he'll tell you, I'm going to beat you at a cold meat contest.
Yeah.
And think about that. He's like, I'm worried about what happens when my food's cold in that box right there.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll build a box an hour before it's ready to turn in.
Yep.
That's a truth, because he doesn't care. He's going to beat you with that meat being cold, because yours is going to get cold too by the time they judge them.
Correct.
So, so it's about knowing what you like you said, knowing where the hot spot is, knowing where the cool spot is. One of the things that when we first got our outlaw, by mistake, every year in the Super Bowl, we do one time a year, we do like a catering around, or we just do sell barbecue for the Super Bowl. And people around, they're always asking, we're doing stuff. And we're like, well, one time a year, and folks will order food then. But right when we got our outlaw, we had sold 30 whole chickens, and it's a lot. It takes a lot of room to cook 30 whole chickens. So we filled the outlaw up with 30 whole chickens. And you know what? We learned? We sat there and watched the dark spots and light spots on all the skin of those chickens change in different spots.
Yep.
And we learned that bar coming across with the microwave shelf, that air hits
gets hot.
Boom. If you need to put a little color or something, you move it over here. I mean, and just by dumb luck, by cooking all that stuff on there, you absolutely could see the hot spots and cold spots in that cooker. We loaded it up corner to corner with whole chickens.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you want to see how your cooker cooks, go buy a whole bunch of chickens and watch it. I mean, we had done the biscuit tests and all that crazy stuff that we watched for everybody, and you could see stuff, but literally, I mean,
once you got meat in there and a lot of moisture,
the whole thing was full of meat. We just had it screaming to keep it going, but we learned so much by filling that cooker up with those chickens that day. And I mean, we'd had it for 6 months or something. We hadn't had it real long. And from that day on, we folks had told us where their hot spots were in their cookers, and this was a little different. I mean, it's just, I don't know, they're all a little bit different. So maybe you guys can confirm or deny, or anybody in the comments. Did I hear the rumor about Jay? So yeah,
that he's doing it. It's coming out.
Which one?
Yeah, okay, touche.
I don't know. I haven't heard this rumor, so I'm not sure.
That he's making a drum?
Oh, maybe.
Okay.
I might heard it too. I haven't heard it from Jay.
Okay.
So
I've heard at the watering hole.
We did. Now I'll tell you this, because I like cars and all that kind of stuff. When we got rid of the Outlaw, we took it off the trailer because the trailer wasn't towing. And we heard Jamie Gear was going to stop building cookers, and we bought a J3, and it's in the garage. It's fire engine red, and it is sexy, and it is a bad to the bone cooker. I don't know what we're going to do with it.
It's been cooked on like 2 times.
I cooked a rib contest on it. Won a rib contest up in South Carolina. That's the first time I'd ever cooked ribs on it. And then we've done a couple of catering things.
I know you're not going to sell it. I know that.
It's in the garage. So
it's an investment.
Yeah,
basically.
But I mean, it was, and he's done. Jamie's done. He's not building cookers anymore.
Nope.
So no more Jambos. So think about that. So,
Sure.
But we, that talk about figuring things out on cookers. I went up to Columbia, South Carolina, SBN, is that right? The SBN sanctioned a body up there.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a rib burn up there, and I took the Jambo up there, and probably I cooked on it 2-3 times or something. And Jason Singletary and I went up there, and it was all rib contest. But when you got there, I think they gave us,
you said you had like 44 racks of
like
ribs.
44 racks between Jason and I. We had 44 racks of ribs. So we brought pellet cookers, and he brought his Jambo. I brought my Jambo, and we had a couple of pellet cookers, and we cooked 44 racks of ribs. And we made one box and turned it in, and we handed every bit of them out to the public.
Wow.
So he set up 110, I set up next to each other. But when I loaded that Jambo up with ribs, same thing happened. This area started getting color. That area where I thought in the Outlaw it was going to start getting color where the microwave shelf is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the deflector's a little different angle than the Outlaw.
Correct.
So I was actually getting color in the back where I would have thought I'd get it. So again,
You got to learn the cooker.
You got to learn your cooker. I mean, we haven't learned that cooker, but I did learn something that day. I mean,
But the flip side of that is he said that Jason's Jambo, the hot spot was
in a different spot because he loaded his up, and I was like, hey, check this out, because it was, I was like, look at this, it's getting dark back here, and he's like, well, mine's not doing that. And then that's one of the things that those Jambos, everybody looks at that deflector plate in the back, and I never knew what they were looking at. Well, we looked at both of them side by side, and mine was at a different angle than his. They put them in there, boop, 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 weld them. Yeah, where if Jay built it, that bad boy's in the same spot every single time, which there's something cool to that too. Yeah. But you still got to learn your cooker.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely, man.
All that fun stuff. So
most definitely,
it's fun. This is a fun game. So
for sure, but man. Let's get a recap of Poosa Q, man. Just how everything went that day and how you felt about your turn-ins.
Yeah. So Chad earlier in the week, he's like, well, all right, what are we doing? And we argue a little bit, like
because we have
husband and wife, or wife and husband, or husband and husband. I don't know.
We have our shared Google Drive that has the recipes written on it. Like he said, and I make everything up the day or the weekend before the contest. So any kind of injections that need to get mixed,
and we'll usually
sauces that
if we want to do something different or whatever. And we went round and round for a couple hours one day trying to figure out what we're.
Are we doing this? Are we doing that? What are we doing?
So we got. I tried to talk Chad into coming. He wasn't able to come. Like I tried to talk Chad into coming. You got to come so we can win this contest, Chad. Come on.
Yeah.
So
and now it turned out better than I did.
Yeah. So it did. No, but we just normal. I mean, I knew it was gonna be a long drive. They had the thing where you got to be there by 6 o'clock on Thursday. I was working, so I know I could get there Thursday night. So
same here.
Which I heard they had a heck of a pool party, and a lot of cookers a couple of outlaws got swam on top of what I heard. They had to clean some off the cookers the next morning. I saw some stains, but I don't know. So there's pictures on the internet. So anyway, they had a good time Thursday night, but I got up bright and early. I rolled in there about 10 o'clock their time on Friday morning, and I had pretty much had chicken. Only thing I didn't have trim was pork. So got there, got set up. Fortunately, I was up on the top side, not down the bottom side. So I was a little bit drier than everybody down the bottom side, but not much. I was still in a low spot up there. So got set up and we went and had lunch. And apparently one of the keys to winning a contest is you gotta buy Raleigh and Karen lunch at a Mexican restaurant. There you go. A buddy of mine, Jason Singletary, that had just won $30,000 the weekend before in New York, said, you got to buy them lunch. Right. We sat down to lunch, and I told him, I said, Jason said, I got to buy y'all lunch. And they started laughing.
It paid off, right?
Yeah. So we went and had lunch, came back, got the pork trimmed up and cook's meat and all that fun stuff. And then got that downpour on Friday. And it's funny because, these days everybody seems to. There was a time on Friday night people were still up and partying a little bit and that kind of stuff. And these guys were giving me a hard time because Jason and Joseph, the guys you used to run around with, weren't there. And like, you're gonna be in bed by like 8 o'clock. You got nothing to do with them. So I went in. I got things I need to do at 9 o'clock on my timeline. The reason for that is it usually makes me have to go back to my trailer to do something at 9 o'clock. So I got my 9 o'clock stuff done and
keeps him out of trouble.
Try to. And I walked around outside. I looked around and pretty much everybody had gone to bed, and Jason Hardy was sitting over there, and Chris Salisbury, they were over there, and they were about this deep into a bottle of bourbon. And it was a great conversation. We had a great conversation. No, we did. It was fun. But we were sitting there. I told them, I said, look, everybody in the world's gone to bed except for you two. I said, I bet you Jim Elser is awake. And about that time, I don't know what happened, but he appeared around the corner of the trailer. And he wasn't even looking for us. He was looking to pay his wild child. But, I mean, it wasn't that came out of my mouth. So we stood there and chatted with Jim for a while and all that stuff. But got to bed and got up in the morning. And I don't know about you guys stuff, but it was just soggy Saturday morning. And got the drums going. And, I mean, it was a pretty regular cook, I would say.
Usually when it's humid out like that, usually that's stick burner time.
And that's funny because as a group, we had a conversation about there. We're like, oh, stick burners are probably going to shine tomorrow. And I mean, my experience with it was like I put everything on and everything just kind of, you start cooking and it just kind of goes like this at an angle. Everything just kind of just took forever. And then at some point, it all just turned and went up like that. I don't know. My stuff was like coming. All of a sudden, it was done.
Yeah. So that's one thing I was going to ask. Did the heat kind of affect your cook a little bit?
I don't think so. I don't really think so much. But like I said, the thing that I noticed was early on things were running a little slower.
Okay.
So, but I think everything was pretty decent on track. So I got I start my brisket on a drum and then take it off and finish it on the rack tech. Then I put my ribs on the drum that the brisket was on. So I got ribs on going, and pork. I would say pork took about an hour. I was probably an hour later than normal wrapping pork just because the color wasn't getting there. So just but then again, once I wrapped it went. Everything. Once I got everything, the brisket was the same thing. I was probably 30 minutes later than I normally would wrapping it, just waiting the color to get there. Ribs cooked pretty good on their normal schedule. And then chicken.
How many racks do you typically cook?
I usually cook four racks of ribs because that's so I can kind of get 3 one way and 1 across the top of the drum. Okay. And then we usually cook 4 collars. Yeah. And Chad fussed at me when I take extra stuff, so I knew he wasn't going. So
got to pay attention to 5 of them instead of 4. That's
a good thing I did because 3 of them were trash. We cut those collars down so much. Mm-hmm. They're it's easy to get 5 of them on there.
Oh yeah.
Cook 1 brisket. Sometimes I cook the point, sometimes I don't. I don't really ever use the point. I use it. I put it in one of the wrap. I put it around the wrap and try to build the jus a little bit with that. But I didn't bring a point with it this week. And then I'll cook 12 pieces of thighs. I cook 12 thighs. I put 12 on a pizza screen, and then I take the best 9 out of that and put it in one pan. So I end up cooking 9 pieces of chicken. So, but chicken was interesting story. Chicken was a little odd.
But not too high, right at the end.
When I'm about to tell you, you're gonna laugh at me.
It's perfectly odd.
Exactly.
Because I cooked it half the time sitting on top of the cooker, not in the cooker.
Man.
So about 11 o'clock, I opened the lid of chicken, and my chicken was about 202, 203, and I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna be way early." So I put it off to the side. The ribs were off the rib drum. And I put my hand on the rib drum and I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait about 20 minutes and I'm just gonna ease it back in the drum and burp it back up and just kind of get it where I want to get it. I mean, I've done that plenty of times before, and it usually is okay. And I put for whatever reason, I guess everything got done a little early, so the rib drum had mostly gone out, so it wasn't real warm. So I was like, I put it back over on the chicken drum, which was still at 300 degrees, and at 11:20. I went out there. I was like, because Russell Wright helped me run boxes and stuff. And he got there about 11 or around 11 o'clock or so. And we were talking about it. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, just make sure it doesn't lose temperature. Let's just be careful. I'm like, you're right. So I pulled the lid and I reached in there. Those bad boys were exactly where I wanted it. It sat on top of that drum and cooked. So you're talking about cooking outside in the heat?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I have no idea what it was, but they were. I never put them back in the drum. They cooked from 11 o'clock on, sat right on top of the outside of the drum and finished right where I wanted them to finish.
There you go.
So, and it turned out they were
adapting.
Yeah, I mean, it turned out with 180, right? So
yes, sir. So guys, if your chicken is a little bit ahead of schedule, you put it on top of the drum.
Yeah, just the drum. I told Jim Elsa that story Saturday night. I said, you didn't know you're supposed to cook the chicken outside of the drum. You sell cookers, and you haven't been telling people all these things.
I don't think I've ever been ahead in chicken in any competition. I think that's the one meat I'm always like most racing or struggling.
I'll tell you with the outlaw, I was always behind. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times I put it on the microwave shelf to get it finished. That's true. On the outlaw. I mean, we had decent results with it, but But I struggle. I don't know what it is with the drum. Sometimes everybody else is like, that 11 o'clock is like, it's 175. It's going to be right on your time when you want to be out. 11:30, 11:20, 11:30. You're good. I used to check at 11:15. Now I check at 11 because more than once I've opened at 11:15 and it's been 2:09.
Yeah.
So so I don't know what I do or do something different, but the amount of butter I put, there's got to be something some ratio that I'm doing that's doing something a little quicker. But so worked out for us. So, but no, I mean, I would tell you, our cook was just mediocre. I would have not have walking up there to awards. I mean, I would have told you that my ribs I felt that my ribs were probably the best thing that I turned in all day. And then probably brisket after that. And then the piece of chicken that I tasted, thank goodness I tasted it because it had a funny texture to it. So I wasn't excited about the chicken. And then my pork, I thought I was a little tight on pork. And I got, ended up getting a chicken and pork call. So, but I would have, if you'd asked me walking up there that I had a shot at winning the contest, I'd be, man, if I get a top 10 here today, I'll be excited as I'll get out. So, I mean, and even the awards were a little crazy because when we walked up there for the overall, man, if you'd asked me right then, I mean, I had 2 calls, but I mean, it was, nobody that got a chicken call got a rib call. So that's 20 people that had a call.
You were the only 180, by the way. I looked.
Yes.
You were the only one.
Well, I mean, then that's really what that's really what helped. So, but after the first 2 calls, nobody had 2 calls. So, that's crazy, to field that many teams. So that's 42 teams.
And I told them I was watching the live stream on Facebook and it kept dying out. So
everybody's dead. I kept flipping back and forth.
I was watching Jim's,
Wes and Michael's, and
I saw that he won chicken, and
that's a cool trophy.
And then I didn't see anything.
It is a really cool trophy.
And brisket skipped out, so I didn't see that he had gotten third place in brisket.
Gabe ended up
pork.
Yeah.
And then brisket skipped out, and I turned up, it kept coming in and coming out. And I was like, after, I saw that he won chicken and there was no call on ribs, no call on pork, as far as I knew, no call on brisket. And then he called up top 10 overall. I was like, wait a minute, how did this happen? Like this doesn't make sense. And then he's standing up there next to Smoking Volts, top 2. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Like,
he's got 1 call.
We're like introducing ourselves up there on the stage. I've never met him before. So I'm like, we got to catch up with social media and all this stuff.
Gabe,
like, where are you from? He's from California.
Yeah.
We're talking while they're still over there.
Gabe's an awesome guy. I've met him
cool.
and we, good charcoal sponsor or whatnot, but he is getting it dialed in, and he's trophy hunting. He came to Smoke on the Shores. He won ribs. He still won't come to Murfreesboro for some reason. So Gabe, if you're hearing this, come on. No, he's going to Hawaii to do that comp.
That's super cool, man.
He's got, what do you say? He has 5 WSMs out there. Because he cooked it a year before, 2 years ago, it was the auto. He had to go to the Jack. But you want to talk about a guy, man, he's like a vacuum right now. Like what people are doing in this, what he just wants to come in, hone his craft, walk the stage and make it happen. But he's a super cool guy.
That's awesome. So, but yeah, we were fortunate enough to hear a name last. I mean, super cool there. I mean, like a buddy of ours, Alan, the first one, and we were, I was kind of a little bit more excited since they're not going to have this anymore.
Well, that's what I was at. You heard your name.
I told Radar, I'm like, you got it first and we got it last. and he's like, he texts me, there's a message on Facebook. He's like, man, you guys, he's like, I started the party. Y'all close the bar now. I'm like, yeah, buddy.
so just a quick thing about that. And shame on me. I've signed up twice and, gave them a message ahead of time. I couldn't make it. I've never cooked it. I've never been down there. Well, I wanted to. It was one of the ones that, the trophies, obviously, the prize pool, the drive, from this part of the country. But is there a big rhyme or reason like that they announced or said, or is it just kind of another one bites the dust?
I think, I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but I just mean the team count was 42 pro teams. When they $40,000 payout. Massive payout. I mean, the casino's investing all kinds of money into the event, and I mean, I know there were other contests that weekend, but I mean, it's hard for them to justify. I mean, they're in the entertainment business, so I mean, it's hard for them to just. I would think so.
Right. Well, I mean, last year, she had made the comment about, last year might be the last, but then she came back and surprised everybody, and then this year she told us the last one. But I think it was, just from hearing her talk, I think she wanted, or not, I guess her boss or whatever wanted more of the public to come get involved, and they just didn't have that and stuff. It's just hard to do that, and just some of that aspect, I think that what mainly caused it. But we're all sad to see it go away because that was an awesome comp.
I mean, you talking about folks that will cater to cook teams, they are awesome. I mean, like so one of the guys that had some electrical problems and some plugs and stuff, the maintenance team came out and rebuilt everything in his trailer, just put it all back together. Just
that's awesome.
I mean, that's top notch right there.
So
we only cooked it last year for the first time, so kind of on a whim because it was
the other contest.
It was in October. There used to be a contest a mile or about an hour up the road from us here over in Georgia. And it's hard to drive by one contest to go to the other one, even though it's a bunch of money. But it was, one of the contests that we started cooking when we first started cooking. So
is that Pink and Peaches?
No, it's
Lions.
The real squeal
and
Lions.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's like an hour and a half up the road from us, and it's always been the same weekend as Poosa Q. So and it's a good. I mean, it's actually they have a good. It's like a $15,000 payout.
Yeah.
And they usually have 30 teams show up. And like I said, it's an hour and a half from us. So,
why not?
Yeah. So, I mean, 2 years ago we went there, and then last year
they had
last year we had a hurricane come through here, and all of South Jordan from the coast of North Carolina got destroyed up the middle, not really on the coast.
Yeah,
I mean, just destroyed. So the week of the contest, I called over there and talked to her, Christy, and see if, first she's like, we're full. And I was like, on like Tuesday, I texted her back. I'm like, hey, just one more time. I got meats trimmed. I got everything's in the freezer. I was ready to go to our comp. She's like, come on. So last year was the first time that I went there. And AJ, I think I met you there last year. That's the first time we met, right? Yeah. Over at Poosa Q. Yeah. So, and I got one of the flame trophies, and I was like, dude, those other ones are awesome.
Right.
And then I heard the same thing, that they weren't going to come back, and I was like, man. And then she said she was coming back in June. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's not Lions weekend, so wanted to go get one of those painted trophies at least.
Would you say that Poosa Q is one of the best, if not the best, in your opinion, or can you pick favorites? Is there one that just absolutely stands out to you?
It's funny. I would tell you. I tell you they're in top four. So and one I would probably, just because it's a little sentimental, Boss Hog in Waynesboro, first contest we ever cooked, first contest we ever GC'd, and it was our 100th contest. So I mean, it's kind of not fair to, but those folks do a fantastic job of catering to the cook teams.
Okay.
So I would say the number 2 on that list is Greenwood, South Carolina. If you've not been to Greenwood, South Carolina, they literally close the streets down and roll the carpets out for the cook teams. They close the town down. The downtown's 4 roads wide, the whole length of the town. There's little bars, restaurants, all kinds of stuff on either side, and they have a big music festival. So that's actually coming up in 3 weeks. I would say, that one could be on the top of our list too, if Boss Hog wasn't already our favorite. And then the next one that I would say that was probably comparable to Poosa Q that's no longer here was Banjo BQ up in Augusta. Papa Joe's Banjo BQ. That contest was originally at an outdoor amphitheater, and you rolled your trailer onto the grass of the amphitheater, and it was golf course grass.
Oh man!
I mean, like, it's in Augusta, Georgia, so it was like St. Augustine, like the beautiful golf course grass, and they had all kinds of big name folks. They had like a bluegrass festival that weekend, and
well, it was cool. So like basically the amphitheater was on one end of the field, and then everybody else parked around the outside of the amphitheater,
and the crowd was in the middle.
So they had bluegrass concert going on all weekend long, and like you said, they had big. I mean, they had Willie Nelson there one year, Old Crow Medicine Show, Ava Brothers.
So I mean, they had headliners. I mean, so like Friday night just on average, they'd have 5,000 people there Friday night. Saturday night, have upwards of 7,000 people, spectators.
And they had a $50,000 payout.
So that's what Poosa Q is missing. I mean, really, that's what Poosa Q is missing. For it is the public side of it. I would say outside of them not being able to have public there or get the public there, I mean, the hospitality and they brought ice on demand. Anything you wanted, they were there for anybody. So, I mean, we didn't go the first couple of years, and everybody told us, you got to go to Poosa Q. Yeah. It's just awesome. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to go 2 years.
Yeah, that's definitely where I'm at. I'm glad we was able to go, 4 to 5 years, and man, it's just sad to see it go, but hopefully we can get another one, of that magnitude for sure.
I was watching because she kind of announced that final year, I guess, was early in awards or right before it started, if I wasn't mistaken.
Yeah.
What was it she said? Because it kept glitching like, hey, this is our final year. And then I heard a but. And there was some other event or something.
She was like a Jeep Fest or something?
Like a Jeep Fest and
food truck festival.
Yeah, food truck festival. And I think she was working on not KCBS competition wise, but like wing competitions.
Something
like that.
One meat contest or something like that. So maybe they're not completely gone.
Food type deal.
So maybe they're not completely gone, but I think the KCBS deal's gone.
Right. Yeah. So man, let's kind of transition over to, we all know you got a successful company, the sauce game. Can you just talk about that a little bit and just let us know what kind of flavors you got and what, new products you're working on, or if you're working on?
Chad's the inventor.
Okay.
of the sauces. I mean, we worked on them together, but
lots of trial and error.
Chad's the inventor of the sauces. So kind of go through how we started with
right now we've got 3 sauces. There's a red sauce, yellow sauce, and comp sauce, or we call it not juice. And we'll tell you that straight as well. But the red sauce was the first one, and that was just kind of, and this is back when we first started
cooking SCBA
contests, and we just basically needed a sauce to use for the barbecue contest, and we felt like making our own was the best way to go about it. And back then we still don't know anything about anything, but we thought that was the best approach. So the red sauce is just kind of a straightforward. It's kind of the flavor profile is just kind of a tangy. It's a little bit more, got a little bit of a vinegar flavor, but it's kind of a sweet, tangy vinegar.
Yeah, like a Blues Hog Tennessee Red. It's just sweeter than that.
Yeah,
it's not as vinegary.
It's a little thicker and a little sweeter than the Tennessee Red. So we made that one first, and basically we were making it in 5-gallon batches at the house and taking it with us to barbecue contests and selling it, and selling it to people we knew and blah blah blah. And so the next one was the yellow sauce, and that's just it's not honey mustard, it's just a sweet mustard. And the main reason we made that one is because around our neck of the woods, South Carolina, Low Country, that kind of thing, it's all about mustard sauce.
You remember the beginning we were talking about the SCBA
so we were
contest.
doing the SCBA contest.
Yeah, to serve to the public. And
we're doing People's Choice. We're making, serving wings.
Where's your yellow sauce? Where's your yellow sauce?
Like, where's the mustard sauce? And we were like,
we made one.
Trying the typical mustard sauce is, way mustard. So we're like, nah, this is just not for us. So we, put about 10 pounds of brown sugar in it and called it good.
No, but what's cool about that sauce is, I've done some, like, it's great on fish. I know people use it for salad dressing. Yeah. It really is very versatile. You can, I love it on wings.
Yeah, actually, it's awesome on wings.
So because it's got some vinegar in it. It's got a little kick to it. It's got sweet. So just a hint of mustard. So
yeah. And so we made those 2
5 years or so.
Yeah, we were running those for a while, and then once we started getting into KCBS and doing more and more KCBS contests, like everybody else, we were taking 10 sauces and mixing them together and coming up with a sausage you could use on your pork and your chicken and whatnot. And we're like, you know what? We really just need to come up with a sauce.
That sauce right there that we just mixed all together. That's what we need to build.
We need to figure out how to do this in one bottle.
And that was our goal.
And so
crack a bottle and cook a contest,
And so,
but nobody, people have competition sauce out there now, but at that time, nobody had any of those competition sauces out there.
That's true.
Everyone
was kind of mixing and blending sauces. So, we started with the red sauce and just kept adding and figured out where we wanted to be.
We even took at one point and said, okay, and because we've got Excel sheets of stuff that we made, which is kind of ridiculous. But we took those. It was like 7 sauces or something. We tried to invent each one of those 7 sauces and got them as close to where we thought those sauces were. And then we took all the ingredients and merged them. And then we started making that sauce. And then we started taking that and tweaking it to where we ended up to where, I mean, it's
great approach.
It's not the same as the sauces that we mix together, but it's real close. I mean, obviously you didn't test it side by side, but it's real close. And then we probably spent a year.
More than a year.
I mean, but by the time we kind of started giving it to people.
Yeah.
We probably about a year's worth of letting people try it and started cooking with it before we bottled it or anything like that.
So you were already finished with the recipe with the co-pack, like you were already
not at all. We were still tweaking on it.
Okay.
We wanted to see the results of it. So I mean,
we started using it ourselves.
Yeah.
Started doing good with it.
Yeah.
And, at the time we had a bunch of friends that were cooking. I mean, we still have a bunch of friends cooking barbecue, but we had a bunch of people that
now we're lying.
Yeah. Now nobody likes us. And so we were giving it out to our friends to try. And so the knot juice, if you've seen the label, there's a little hashtag knot juice. The knot juice comes from, at the time I had small kids in my house, and we had bottles of juicy juice, the little half-gallon bottles.
Yep.
And I would make up 3-gallon batches and dump it in this bottle of knot juice. Or not, I'm sorry, but in the juicy juice bottles.
Yeah, to save and have a container.
Yeah. And put it in the fridge. And because the competition sauce looks like it could be, if you're looking at it in a bottle, it looks like it could be like berry juice or whatever.
Yeah.
So I took a piece of blue painter's tape on there and I wrote "not juice" with an exclamation.
Put it in the refrigerator.
Put it in my fridge so my kids wouldn't drink it. So whenever we would give it to our friends to try, it was in these half-gallon jugs with a blue piece of tape that said "not juice" on it. And so at the time we didn't have a name for it. I mean, we had red sauce.
They're like,
we had red sauce.
It's got to be not juice.
Yeah,
it's got to be not juice.
Right. Yeah. We're like, I don't know. That's kind
can't really put that on the shelf and market it very well and that kind of stuff.
Right.
You look at the top left corner of our label, there's a piece of blue painter's tape that says not juice.
That juice.
So, So, but that sauce has done us well. I mean, one of the things that was really hard for us to do was, like if you dunk a piece of chicken and you want to see the color of your piece of chicken, like it took us a little while to get that sauce to be the right color and consistency.
Yeah.
And like the particles,
like the thickness
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things we worked on for a long time. But then, but since then we've had all kinds of, folks tell us they did crazy things with it. Like those guys won Memphis and May with ribs.
Mm-hmm.
They mixed their red sauce and the competition sauce together. 75-25, won Memphis and May with ribs. It's pretty awesome.
For sure.
That was the Tennessee Mojo guy.
Yeah.
So they that year they won. It's 2019, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had, we've done a bunch of stuff. We've had a handful of people. I mean, it's funny because sometimes you don't know people use it, and then every once in a while they're like, "Hey, do you have any sauce?" You're like, "Yeah, I'll bring you some. What you gonna do with it?" Oh, don't worry about it.
Nothing for the house. Gotta feed it to the dog.
So, but
Jay Dermott, man, he's so simple in his approach and it just, so he cooked with Mark and Jamie at Smokefest or Smoke Slam, excuse me.
Oh yeah,
this year.
Really? I don't know who's cooking it all anymore.
Well, I mean, look, when Mark and Jamie, look.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Malcolm come by for a little bit. I mean, it's Mark and Jamie, so everybody's kind of fun. And Old Booger Bears cook, and I cooked with them for bigger events, whatever. But I was talking with Jay, and he, he's real kind of quiet, at least up front and whatnot. And I'd met him a handful of times, but I was like, he's like a salt and pepper barbecue kind of guy. Like if and we know all the people who have these recipes that are sheets and sheets and sheets and it don't have to be. And he kind of proved it that year he won it. He is straightforward. 1, 2, 3.
Literally was texting and saying, "Hey, guess what, guys? We're in finals. We're finals." And the next thing you know, sure enough, and then he did a video showing it. I was like, heck yeah. I mean, we got video somewhere of him showing the recipe.
Absolutely.
I mean, just straight up 3/4 comp sauce, 25% red sauce. So mix it together in his rub. Boom, that was it. Simple. And cook it right.
Wow.
And cook it right.
So are y'all toying around with any real recipes, or y'all just kind of stick with commercial right now?
We're always kind of tinkering with things here and there. Nothing definitive yet.
Yeah. So we'd like to. We've talked about stuff, but it's we've got our day jobs.
Let me ask this question: is the rub market oversaturated? Is there still room for it?
I don't know.
Because we have these pillars, right?
Yeah.
Like I still have Bad Byron's. I still got butt rub on my shelf.
Yeah.
Why? Maybe nostalgia. I hadn't used it in a while.
Yeah.
But it just.
I'll people all the time be like, hey, did you try this rub? And I've never even heard of it. You know what I mean? I mean, so it's like, I don't know. I mean, we use a ton of Heath Rawl stuff, and he's got a little bit of a different approach where, I mean, that competition rub he's got, but he just gives you all the pieces and parts. You can do what you want with it, make what you want out of it. So, which is pretty good way to do it. We use Raleigh's brisket, their beef rub. We use that on brisket. We use for sweet rub some. But I mean, we try to keep it simple. As a matter of fact, I was just talking the other day. I'm like, we already got somehow or another we got too many rubs in the trailer again. I mean, we'll go through. And you know what? We always end up going back to Summer on Dock, Smoke Guns Hot.
Yeah.
And I think
Classics.
I think you could cook a contest right now today, just like.
Well, that's what Darren was on that tear. Was it kind of last year's season, early part? He was like, I'm taking Blues Hog, Tennessee Red. He's like, I'm taking Cimarron Docks and Smoke Guns Hot, and I'm going to cook a contest. And that's it. That's all he's ever, for all 4 proteins across the board.
Yeah.
I
still believe it's a tenderness contest. And if you're the good cooks are hitting it in tenderness and finishing right at the end. And I was telling someone the other day, I'm like, I will give you, if you want anything I got, I'll tell you what I do. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not secretive at one bit, and I'll tell you exactly how I do it. But unfortunately, I cannot help you. At the end of the day, I can't. When I probe that, I can't. You got to learn that yourself. I had to learn that. You got to learn that. And I think that's where you get the last 10% of the. Everybody's good cooks. Everybody's good cooks. Everybody's good cooks.
When's the last time you've been, let's say, really mad, disappointed that maybe you did to your friend, but like you just want to cuss those judges for your score at the end because you knew
No, I'll tell you exactly when. I went to Calhoun, Georgia earlier this year, and I'm kind of a mediocre kind of person. I'm like, food was all right, and I thought food was pretty decent that day, and I got hammered. I mean, just hammered, and It took. Chad didn't go. I was by myself. I didn't go that time. And I mean, I was hurt a little bit, and I mean, it took me a little while to get. I mean, it took me a week or so to kind of get over it, and just real frustrated with it. But we know we signed up with to begin with. Yeah. I mean, in the next contest, I cooked exactly the same thing that I cooked up there. Of course. We got 3 calls in the top 5. I mean,
I think there's only been 2 or 3 times where we've tasted the meat and been like,
the other time was
freaking awesome, and like this is the best pork we've ever cooked.
Yeah.
And luckily it turned out correct.
Yeah.
That one time.
Yeah.
But most of the time he's like, how'd it go? And I'm like,
and because
it was okay. This was okay. This was okay.
Yeah.
Stuff could have been better.
Right.
And sometimes it turns out good. Sometimes it turns out
Have
bad.
you guys ever done a box audit? Like to the point where you want to go and make sure that you're so
double check.
No, I tell you. So I'm like Chad probably knows a little bit more than I do about as far as scores and all that stuff. I am the absolute worst at auditing scores and looking at all that kind of stuff because I just it's comparative to what happened that in my mind, in my world, I can make sense of it. It's comparative to what happened that day.
Yeah,
and we're all people. If something did happen in there. I mean, those people come here and do that stuff for us. I know we invest time and effort and all that stuff to it, but I just, in my opinion,
I mean,
we just got to go on to the next one.
I'm
Right.
happy that is part of the KCBS process, right?
Yeah.
Like that us as members, and we're there, and there's something baked into that. If we just really felt we can go to the I technically did my first one. We all were cooking. I cooked this competitor series and Hot Tutors. I don't know if you heard of that brand new team out there.
Heard that too.
So they RGC'd it. Big James won it, but Rob and Lex were the reps, and I was mad, but not mad that they were the first that actually did it. I was fitting to be tied about my ribs that day. I was like, and I wanted to do one other, and it was y'all were there. It was the unfortunate Atlanta barbecue debacle a couple years back.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, again in ribs, and those are the only two times that I was just so passionate of what I put in the box. Came back, I set everything to the side in a pan, and it stays on the shit. It doesn't go back in the hot box, done nothing. And then I taste it after I get back the following turning, which I think is very realistic.
Talking about beating you a cold beat.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
okay.
exactly what you're doing, right?
And
so,
and if that bite, if it's there, it should have been there in the box. Because it's what I didn't put in the box that I'm tasting, obviously.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm happy it's a part of the thing, but I didn't know like how much y'all beat yourself up.
So I'm just curious. So, like when you went and did that, what did you find? I mean, I'm just like
it was my box.
It's just that it was your box.
Yeah,
I got you.
There you can ask some folks have done it, and it wasn't their box. So the box out it was legit. And as far as I know, and a person more KCBS savvy would have to chime in. I don't think there's anything they can do about it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like it's a ding, and it's a saying, hey, your score isn't legit, but they're not going to go back and take prize money or trophies or re-audit or what, something like that. It just is, hey, we messed up. We're sorry. Next year's membership, if you're not lifetime, is on us. Type of. I don't know. I'm making that part up, but like it's just more to know. In fact, your score was not that
box. Yeah. I don't know.
How did you know it was their box though? Like, how did they know?
So what they do is, you have your box number,
the number I wrote on it the first time,
and then they have labels that are printed out, which have a whole different formula number, and I did learn this. Do you know there's an order for coin flip that's pre-assigned to every team?
They always put us on the end of it.
Yeah, I was on the last.
I lost 2 this week.
But if there's multi coin flips or whatever within a category, if your number is ahead of mine because it's the exact same score and it has to come down to a group, then the lower 2 numbers go first, and then with the higher one, and that's there has to be a high, because unless you're going to do a coin flip for a coin flip to see
in theory, it's who would ever know that even those numbers were competing against until it gets there. So it's completely random. I mean, but there's a system, but it's random to what it is.
Correct. And but AJ, to your point, they put a label over.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I'm talking about fours, the numbers system. I get that, but so the judges, they sample your meat and they do whatever with the box. I mean, how do they know when you?
Well, they hold the boxes. They hold the boxes cannot get thrown away until after awards are called. As far as I know, like standard rep protocol, and they're usually held somewhere off to the side. They give it, I'm making this up, 5-10 minutes after awards are over, and then they will discard them.
I know, like in Greenwood, South Carolina. Couple years back, they were in there 10 o'clock at night looking for numbers out of the trash can.
Okay.
So they didn't discard the trash, but they had been, that kind of stuff. I mean,
makes sense. I got you.
I don't even know who it was or whatever, but I just know that they were in there looking for boxes. Yeah. So, and I guess just what you're saying, it doesn't matter what was in them at that point, just as long as you peel that label off and the numbers.
And is there
numbers? I got you.
Yeah, no, the boxes are empty. The meat is done.
Right.
Which is just verify that the numbers line up.
Right. Line up. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And look, again, that's why I'm happy that part cool. is baked into it. As we compete in sanctions and whatnot. I have been that mad and was this one that I did with Rob Lex. The boy came with me and he was the one who was really like, Dad, those ribs are so good. And so I unbeknownst to me, because I said it, I told him, I said, well, Bubba, there's a process to check the box to make sure it's yours. He was like, really? And I was like, oh, here we go. Me and my big mouth. I didn't.
Yeah.
And because it was Robin Lex, like, and they, help out. And so I was like,
awesome.
Okay, like,
they're awesome.
This is a good teaching moment.
They're awesome
for a young kid, for fairness, for this, for on and on. And but yeah, he was
they were part next to me this weekend. So
okay, see,
yeah,
they got they got a chicken call, right, or a rib. They got at least one call. I heard their name.
Something. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's getting almost time to wrap this thing up. But before we leave, man, let's touch base on the SBC, man. Just kind of get that word out and let people know all about that.
Yes, Southeast Barbecue Championship. Actually, we're both board members, along with you, AJ. So we actually, Chad originally was the Georgia Barbecue Championship years and years ago. We were fortunate enough in 2017 we won the Georgia Barbecue Championship, which was really cool for us on this side. Not we can't really chase the points across the country, but so the Georgia Barbecue Championship kind of developed into the Southeast Barbecue Championship, which includes all the states that touch Georgia. So now it's Georgia and all the surrounding states, and it's a points race for pro, backyard, and we had Kids Q, but
there wasn't enough contest doing Kids Q
there was two reasons. There wasn't enough contest, and the other part is we couldn't track them because sometimes they would be under the kid's name and sometimes they'd be on our team name, and there was no way for us to be able to, which we hate because we want the kids to get involved and to have it was just a small little piece. So as of right now, we don't have Kids Q as part of it. But one of the things that was real important to us was trying to develop the backyard. So the backyard, series teams had a series that they could, regional series that they could do points chasing, that kind of stuff. So last year was our first year, right? Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Last year was our first year of the SBC.
And we gave out just over $10,000
in prize money. And we gave out, I don't know,
probably another $5,000 in gifts and
then we gave out money. So what we did with we're 501c3, so we were, one of the things that we're doing was making sure that as we're raising money, we're putting it away for charity. So we were able to, in all of those states, give money to one of the we just as a group just discussed giving charities, looking at the contests that were put on contests and the ones that were supporting charities, supporting those. So we made sure we had every single state covered. One of the like AJ, one of the contests you guys hooked us up with one of the contests you guys had, and we made sure we were able to support each state with the funds that we're able to raise. So I think it was real successful. We were able to over double the membership of what the GBC was. Maybe 3 times what we had in membership for the GBC. Also, since Alabama's got such a large backyard series, that was cool because we had never really met those folks. So like at the banquet and stuff, we met folks that we literally never come across because we never cooked at the same 2 contests together. But yeah, so it's a regional points chase, and it's a small membership fee to get in, and it's $50 to get in. And you can be a friend of the GBC and be a member to get see points. SBC. I'm gonna mess this up 25 times. And then you can be a friend, and then anybody wants to support what we got going on. We're always looking for sponsors and that kind of stuff. But no, it's cool. Like I said, if you're aren't able to travel the country and cook raw KCBS,
you can still win. You can still win a lot of money.
You can still be in a regional series and that kind of stuff. And let me tell you what, there's some good cooks in this region.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's a monster. It's a monster category of cooks.
The other thing that we do as the SBC is we do an annual cook school.
Yeah,
and it's ideally the top 4 teams from each category cooks one meat. So you'll end up with like Bad Rooster Barbecue, Jason, Smoke Central,
Scully Cook,
Smoke and Scully's does thing, and Swig and Pig did brisket this year, and it's $300.
Came
Same-
by that.
same with the class.
The classes.
So it's it's basically a tell-all class from 4 top cooks in the Southeast region.
At a reasonable cost.
Yeah,
So
for
our
almost-
intent is to try to
to get people in, like the backyard cooks and the,
What's AJ cooking this year? Ribs?
it all depends on the end of the year. We got to see
Get
where
to
he's
work,
at at the end of the
get
year.
to
Yep.
work. So, no. But it's
Get
super cool to be able to, like I said, if you're looking for a regional series, and you don't have to live in those states. I mean, we had teams in Virginia get overall categories.
Yep.
Come down. I think Optimus Swan did it. They were in the top of the pro points, and
Mhm.
the pro is broken into two tiers. It's don't quote me on it.
It's 8 more,
10,
no,
10 or less, and then over 10. So if you're in this and you're cooking 37 contests a year, you're in that top tier. And then we pay more money for the top tier than the lower tier just because
Right.
there's more involved in that kind of stuff. And then the last thing that we did was, as a legacy kind of thing, we kind of kept the GBC like as a single overall. So we still track the Georgia contest. And at the end of the year, we award the one person that got the most points
in Georgia.
in
contest.
Georgia contest out of it's 5 your best 5 scores,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in Georgia, which that's what the GBC was. But we're not giving money to all the categories, but just the overall. So that way, the folks that may have that did the GBC originally, you still can do that. You don't have to travel all Florida to North Carolina to Alabama to Tennessee, all so, but you can if you want to. That's what's cool about it. So
Oh, yeah. It's definitely a good thing, man, for especially the backyard teams of Alabama. I think we have a advantage because we have so many contests around here that's close.
Yeah.
And I say it in a good way, not a bad way towards Georgia teams, because I wish they would come over here and cook with us. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's a no-brainer not to sign up, man. $50, you cook the regular
Absolutely.
dumps that we always cook around here. I mean, you got a real good shot. I mean, you pretty much get your money back. I mean, if you place good.
Sure.
So,
I mean, or if you come to the banquet, we don't charge. The banquet we had this year was in Greenville. It was awesome. I mean, you got your $50 out of just going to the banquet.
Yeah.
right.
I mean, because the meal and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's a win-win. And I mean, and one of the things, our goal is to grow barbecue. I mean, barbecue we talked about that just this weekend. The barbecue pit masters, barbecue went through the roof, and then COVID hit. A lot of people went and got boats and campers and did other stuff, and they didn't come back.
Right.
So, and then when that resulted in not having, you can see it's KCBS numbers, that team numbers, that kind of stuff. So we've got to, as a group, we need to figure out a way to continue to grow barbecue.
Well, and I think that's fantastic about the kids, and just push that agenda. The next legacy, halfway I bring Junior to these cons with me and whatnot, but also because may have been an ultimatum with my wife to bring him around. But seriously, like I want to really sink my teeth into the National Barbecue or High School Barbecue Society and whatnot, right? Like Pit Vipers, when I kind of heard their story being down there and like how, what, where, and I'm like, dude, this is great. Like this right here, and it can be replicated. Like that's something that's positive. I didn't have that when I was growing up.
Yeah. And we saw that firsthand, and that start develop from scratch. And I mean, we gave them sauce. I mean, we can give them sauce. I mean, because and then everybody's chipped in and just looked how successful that is. I mean, look at, if you don't know Raleigh Wright, the state princess's story. Mm-hmm. I mean, she started cooking when she was 11, something like that, competitively. And I mean, she won Poosa Q last year in the backyard. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'll tell you as a fact, because I was there this weekend, her mama and daddy were in my trailer the whole day. We might have had some few fireball shots, but they were in my trailer the whole day while we were cooking. Right. And she'd come in and cook her, wash her dishes, and go back out to the trailer. Yep. So, but I mean, and a person that is passionate about trying to get kids and the youth and all that stuff involved, she is awesome. I mean, she's about to go off to college, and the competitive world is going to miss her, but she needs to go to college and have a good time. But
Anytime there's a kids kid contest, Frank's kids are there.
Yeah, I mean, anytime we can, but we just don't have them over here. So I mean, and it's one of those things. I think some of that's when the organizer struggles to get teams there, the first thing that gets cut is the kids queue because it just doesn't, and the other part is having enough kids to be there. So for not to drag this on, but for Raleigh graduated high school, and for her graduation party, she put on a SCA contest in her hometown, and I went over there and they did a brisket ancillary, and it was me and my two boys and my kids. It was a whole group of kids, and I told Karen, I'm like, I got to send you this picture, and I haven't sent it to her yet, but I need to. I got a picture. I walked out there was like 6 or 7 boys just hanging off the tailgate of my trailer. They were all drinking out of the cooler, and they were just sweating and all this stuff, and I'm like, this is awesome right here.
Yeah, shaking the beers.
I mean, well.
The
Beers,
root kind.
But I mean, if we can get the kids involved with it, just like you said, if they can go with us more, everything's good at home too, because everybody's having a good time, so it's
I took our daughter, so we got boy and a girl, and that Perry's event throwdown, it was first time to have both the kids. It was Father's Day the next day. It was her birthday that following Monday, and she'd been asking if she'd come to awards and some local, but like to actually be there. And I'm hoping that for Praise the Lord, the wife and the kids will come up.
Yeah.
Because that's one that, Murfreesboro, Illinois is small enough. There's enough kind of things to do. It's different than just Nashville and sub areas and whatnot. But that's a comp that's cool. It's small town. You got Carbondale down the road for, anything big or whatever. And if you can bring the family into these things, isn't that where it all kind of started?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We're a Royal Oak sponsor team, and every year Royal Oak puts on an invitational for their teams. And we've been fortunate for the last couple of years been able to go to it. But we'll take our kids out of school early that Friday. They have all their employees come out. They do it at their headquarters up in Roswell, Georgia. They have all their employees come out and hang out with the co-teams. And on Saturday, they do a kids queue for their employees' kids. So, but my boys the last couple of years have cooked it, and it has been. I bet there's 30 kids cooking, and they're cooking a hamburger, and everybody's helping everybody, and they got all these grills on these steps, and it's just awesome. I mean, it's all. I just wish that, because it's the employees' kids, they all live right there. They're not traveling, all that kind of stuff. They're able to get that many kids there, and usually it's a handful of 4 or 5 kids from competition teams, but. My boys are already like, can we get a Royal Oak at the end of the year? I'm like, yeah, I hope so. But I mean, but that's just the root of the whole thing. So I mean, it's what it's all about, man. So
that's sure. But man, that's awesome, man. So like I said, guys out there, if you can, man, sign up to the SBC, man. You won't regret it. Just get signed up and start getting those points, especially for the end of the rest of this year and next year. But at this time, man, we just want to give y'all time to shout out some of y'all sponsors and where people can find y'all at and follow y'all on the trail.
Facebook, let's see, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter is all at Yes Dear BBQ.
Yep.
You can buy our sauces online at AtlantaBarbecueStore.com, and they're one of our primary sponsors. And a bunch of different places locally and online. Let's see, who else? We got Heath Riles as a sponsor, Royal Oak Charcoal,
Steak Princess. Rectex helped us some with some cookers. We do the Prairie Fresh stuff. We've been using their products, so pretty awesome. So, and I mean, our beer sponsors, Jason Singletary and Joseph. If you have never met them, and if you don't like Natural Light, you better come on, because we're gonna roll.
Natural Light, come off the
We actually the 3 of us went and did the Barbecue USA show. The last year Michael Simon did that. We were on the last season down in Apalachicola.
Oh man, that's awesome.
And Joseph and Jason and I, we had a ball. I mean, we got our name called at least once, so we didn't disappoint we didn't have to sit down the whole time, but we had a ball down there. So our goal was to go down there and have a good time when they filmed that show, and we sure did. So we try to do it running up down the road everywhere we can. Sometimes we bring Chad along, and he has to wait a few weeks and come back again.
So, yeah, babysit y'all a little bit.
Yeah,
exactly. Keep
But
them
man, that's right, man. It's been a
appreciate y'all having
blast.
us.
Yes, sir, man.
Absolutely.
It's been a blast coming on, man. I always enjoy seeing all that contests. You know, I've only known y'all for a couple years or so, but man, when I see y'all always happy and always greet me, man, and just keep being y'all, man. And
If you ever need anything, just stop by and knock on the door. I'm telling you, I will tell you anything we do. So,
yes, sir.
So, but all right, guys.
Yes, sir,
All right.
man. Well, thank y'all for coming on,
Appreciate it.
man.
All right,
All right,
thank
see
you.
We'll
soon.
see y'all. Man, that was awesome right there, Blanket, man. Them are two great guys. Right
Oh,
there.
absolutely, man. Listen, sorry for the delay. Some technical computer jazz. We all been through that. Glad I finally sorted out. Poor Logan. He's texting me. He's like, "Are you on? Are you on?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "I got it, man.
Yeah.
But no, man. They are terrific. I think I met Frank. Maybe the first time was it was either at Smoke on the Shores or maybe I'm thinking it was Atlanta Barbecue Store, one of the first years down there.
Right.
I didn't cook too far from them, and just awesome guys, man. Cool people.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, when I met him last year, you know, I think I was talking to a guy. I think his name was I'm not sure his name, but Elite Barbecue Smokers. I mean, Elite.
Oh yeah.
I think it's Jason. Anyway, they asked me to come on, be a member of the SBC for Alabama, and I was just honored, man. They was just a great group of guys. Just glad to help them out, and hopefully, get main thing is just get everybody involved and get some of these Georgia teams come over here in Alabama and just grow the sport, man. So hopefully we can just continue to work on that for sure.
Hey, listen, I think there's room to grow. You know, it's sad that Poosa Q's got to go away. We hope not too many more. And man, that just needs. Like, I know because I've asked some questions from enough organizers and reps and whatnot. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot that goes. And really, what I want to do out over here in Nashville, we got a gun range. Used to be a movie theater in the park. I want to do like a kettle cook-off, like something small, real simple, just ribs or something, and see if that can't jumpstart a community. See if that can't grow into something else. As we say, cooking meat in a parking lot.
Yeah.
And just I like this stuff too much to not help more, I guess. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So and I say that with a business to run and kids. Anyway, it's fine. That's right. My world. So but man, I'm glad I could be on with you guys, even if I was a little late.
It's all good, man. But hey, man, we're gonna get off of here and make sure y'all tune in next week, man. We got another big guy coming up. We're actually RGC, Poosa Q. We got Smoking Boats.
Yep.
We're talking to him about Mr. Gabe. Was talking about him earlier, man. So we got him lined up for next week. Excited to talk to him and listen to his story, man. But in the meantime, as always, when it comes to barbecue, make sure you're right on cue.
Right on cue.
That's all, folks.